Lodging license renewal. So the first request for board action includes 157 annual licenses and 10 seasonal licenses that I'm looking for approval for 2020.
Gentlemen, I'll ask for a motion and a second for more discussion. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Did the license stay the same for everybody? Did they go up, go down?
The fees remain the same for, the fees remain the same for food, beverage, and lodging.
All right, good enough. Gentlemen, any more discussion? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And then the second RBA is approving these 3 licenses contingent upon paying of the property taxes. We do have arrangements with all 3, but it is contingent that they follow through on those arrangements,
All
so.
right,
Make a
gentlemen,
motion on that?
would that be on all 3?
Yep.
All right, I have a motion
Second.
and a second on all 3. Any more discussion? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And I would just make a comment that these 3 establishments do this every year, so it's nothing out of the ordinary, so.
You just wait till the last minute is
Sure.
what you're saying.
No, they wait until after the first of the year to pay their property taxes and take care of all of that. So it's just how they've managed their books, so.
Okay.
That's all I have this morning.
Hey, Happy New Year, Brad.
Happy New Year.
Brad,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
I don't see Emily out there from Extension, but I maybe see someone else, huh?
I'm taking Emily's place today.
All right. And if you can state your name and for the record, please.
All right, I'm Samantha Barron. I'm the SNAP Ed educator with the University of Minnesota Extension.
Good morning,
Good
Samantha.
morning, guys. All right, I just have a very brief update. So just to catch you up, I'm doing my directed programming with 9 elementary classes in the Morrison County area, including Dr. Knight, Lincoln, Swanville, and Lindbergh. This is reaching about 198 students in Morrison County. In addition to that, so that takes place throughout the whole school year. In addition to that, I just wrapped up my Start Strong child care provider training. With that training, I was able to reach 10 child care providers. Each had 8 to 12 kids, so reaching 8 to 12 families per child care, which reaches about 80 families in the Morrison County area. Teaching them, food safety skills, updated nutrition, physical activity standards that their state's pushing out through CACFP standards for child care providers. And then I attended a Every Kid Healthy conference in November. Gave me some opportunities to reach out, find out more resources and what I can bring back to the schools that I'm working with in Morrison County. It's pretty much all I have for updates.
Gentlemen, any questions, comments? It was brief, very brief.
Very
Samantha.
brief.
All right,
I've got a question, Mr. Chair.
please.
Absolutely.
Dr. S.G. Knight, Lincoln, Swanville, Lindbergh, I understand very clearly elementary schools. What does it take to qualify those schools for the program? And I know we have other elementary schools in the county and not those.
Yeah, so they have to be qualified through the school lunch numbers for free and reduced numbers, 50% or higher, or if they're really, really close, like Lindbergh is at 48 and a half, so
Okay.
we push it. And I'm also working in the high school, that's one I forgot to mention, so.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Any other questions?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Samantha. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Okay, let's see here. You guys want to take a bathroom break? We're
You
waiting.
know, it took you 365 days to ask that question. You're asking it 10 minutes after 9.
Oh, here we
Mr.
go.
Chair.
All right.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. Auditor's report. Here she comes.
Good morning,
Good morning, Chelsea.
Good morning, Chelsea.
What do you have for us today?
I have a request. It's a resolution, and I believe Tabitha has it in front of
Yep,
you.
She handed it out.
For a premises permit application for Long Lake Homeowners Association to conduct lawful gambling activity located at RJ's Meats in Hillman.
Could you do me a favor and read the resolution? Because we can probably eat a little time here, so if you wouldn't mind.
I would love that.
All right.
Approving Minnesota premises permit for lawful gambling for Long Lake Homeowners Association to conduct lawful gambling activity located at RJ's Meats in Hillman, whereas Long Lake Homeowners Association has submitted an application to the Morrison County Auditor Treasurer's Office requesting Morrison County Board of Commissioners approval of a Minnesota gambling premises permit application. The location of lawful gambling activity will be at RJ Meats in Hillman, Minnesota. Whereas it has been demonstrated that the organization is collecting gambling monies for lawful purposes, now therefore be it resolved, the Morrison County Board of Commissioners approves the premises permit application for Long Lake Homeowners Association to conduct lawful gambling activity located at RJ Meats in Hillman, Minnesota.
Thank you for that. Gentlemen, I'll ask for a motion and a
Chair,
second.
I'll make a motion on that.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chair, just for clarification's sake, there's a number error, just for the fun of it.
Is there?
RJ Meets 3.6 in the first paragraph, second to last sentence. RJ Meets
Oh, yes.
3.69299, that's not correct.
I see that.
I'm pretty positive it should be 929.
Yes, you are correct.
Just,
Yep.
not that it matters,
Catch.
but I
Thank
caught
you
it.
for that.
Good catch.
How do you know that?
Well, because there's only so many
Many.
numbers.
Should only be 5.
Yeah, you
He
don't
knows the
have,
911.
it's too many numbers.
That's why he's on
Thank
the-
you for pointing that out.
Sorry, I just
No,
got it,
that's
that's all.
okay.
All
That's
right.
correct.
Any more discussion? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next on the agenda, I am requesting
Mike, you
approval
seconded it.
for
Mike.
bills to be paid.
What was that?
I'm sorry. See.
Requesting approval of warrants for year end.
Oh, okay, this will be a roll call. I'll ask for approval of all the bills to be paid.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to pay for all of the bills.
All right, I need a second.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Commissioner Zelinski.
Aye.
Commissioner Blaine. Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Myself is aye, motion carried.
And last but not least, that's not on the agenda, I just wanted to give you an update with Ice Fest for 2020. They did move their date out to February 8th and 9th with the ice conditions. So just an update.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
well, it's been a weird.
I'm glad they did that.
Yes.
All right, appreciate that update.
Thank you.
Chelsea, have a nice new year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Take
Thanks,
care.
you guys.
We'll see you next year.
Chelsea?
Let's, Mr. Chair, go with the admin report first, if you wouldn't mind.
All right. We'll move to the, we got the county, we'll move to the administration report. Deb, what do you have for us?
Well, I have a few things, and it looks like Mike's just walking right in as we're talking about him, or going to talk about him, or the project.
I guess, come on up, Mike. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Mike.
So in your packet, we have an item for consideration when it comes to the, well, 1960s building, the public health building over on the west side of the complex. The drawing shows what the original work that was to be included when it comes to asbestos abatement. It's in the floor, correct?
Yes, it's actually in the mastic, not in the carpet mastic, but it's actually below that. So,
And we knew that going in, kind of, didn't we? Or no?
Yeah, yep,
Yep.
no, we did.
yeah, we knew we had asbestos, it's just a matter of how much and
Right, yep.
and what. Yep,
And so
Yep.
as we started talking about the asbestos removal and needing to get in there and getting specific quotes for that work to be done, we started talking about whether or not it makes sense to take care of the building kind of as a whole, instead of just certain parts of it, given will be in there.
that's correct.
So we wanted to provide you a couple of options here in terms of moving that work area and expanding that work area, so we know we don't then have to deal with it in the future. And so I might have jumped ahead in terms of explaining your drawings, Mike. I'll let you talk through the
right.
process.
If you have the color drawing in front of you, basically, that's the main level of the main level of the building. Middle level, I guess I'll call it, not the basement, but the middle level.
Okay.
Where public health is currently at right now. The dashed aerials, or the dashed walls, is the area that's included in the construction already. The area outside of that where we have CPT, like where it says 1B, those would be areas adjacent to the construction area, but aren't included in the construction project itself. Along with that, on the second level, if you can kind of flip between them, The area in green there also, there's a portion of that that's included in the original project, and that's where it says CPT 1A INC. That's where the new counters, extension office,
Yep.
front counter is gonna be, so. Going through this, with, in EnviroSafe and also with John, we divided this up kind of in two groups of base work and then option one, to get rid of everything, so.
We wanted to take a look at whether or not that makes sense. What we were kind of talking about when it comes to asbestos abatement, that building is now vacant, or will be vacant soon. And so as we looked at those outer offices, and if we ever look to the future to do any type of housing of folks in there, and then if the carpeting would need to be replaced, I mean, it's 30 years old now, but it's not something that was included in the base project because we weren't, we were cutting back. We were making sure we weren't doing things that we didn't immediately need for that original bid, and so we didn't have that to be touched, so to speak, and to recarpet those offices because we didn't have a plan for specific use for them at this point in time. But looking at it, we're going to be over there, looking at it, that we have dollars even in the asbestos removal line that aren't going to be used, we thought, it does make sense to consider getting rid of it, so in the future, we don't have to worry about it. That building will essentially be very minimal asbestos left and only under where the walls would be sitting on top of
Basically,
that
at that point, it
flooring.
would be, EnviroSafe said at that point, you'd basically be 99% asbestos-free in the building.
Yes, and so we thought, it's worth a discussion, it's worth taking a look at, taking care of it while we're in the building, while we have the vendor there, while it's vacant, so we don't have to in the future ever have to worry about it if we wanted to do something with that upper level that's different. And so that's why we're here today, to talk about that, given that demo and that process will be coming up fairly soon.
Gentlemen, any questions or comments?
Sure.
Commissioner Lemire.
When we had our last construction meeting, we had that paper, and I don't know where I put mine, but you had priorities.
Yep.
Was this on there?
I don't know if that was on there, but we do have the abatement actually in the original budget,
Yeah.
the asbestos abatement.
So if, on that original, we were just looking at bond proceeds dollars and didn't probably think about the fact that this is kind of in the asbestos abatement line item that's there. So if you go to the budget that I just handed out, there is a specific line item that we have for the asbestos removal, so it wasn't in that bond proceeds discussion that we have.
So this was actually budgeted for?
Yep,
The base part of
the
it. This
base
would be
part of it.
expanding that, but we won't spend over that asbestos abatement budget, even with, if you would approve
I
that
gotcha.
option. So,
So this isn't the residual, this is actually budgeted for?
well, budgeted for, but not, I mean, there's budget dollars in that line item, so it wouldn't be to access the bond proceeds dollars, it would
Deb,
be
if
to
I may,
spend
we
out of
used
that.
52,000 of it already, is that what we did for
Yep.
the asbestos?
Yep.
So that leaves a total of 147?
Yep, that was, I was just gonna say.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So can I ask a question, Mr. Chair? if
Go
you don't
ahead.
mind?
Thank
This is second floor of the 60s building. At least I'm
Yes.
going to call it second floor.
The middle
The
floor.
And
green-
some on the first,
No, I
Yep.
understand. The green area is what is going to become our extension? I don't know, I'm asking the question.
Well, for the most part, some of those individual offices also on that north wall will be used for extension educators that come in.
South
Yeah, but
wall.
we're not tearing these, follow up, we're not tearing these walls out for where the offices are we?
no.
No,
Okay.
but the carpet and the abatement would happen did you have more?
Yeah,
Jeff?
the specific
But the
tile on the
south-
carpet, what you got?
It used to be, from my understanding, there used to be tile underneath it and it was carpeted over, and so
No.
there's no getting away from it. At some point in time, you have to do something with it, whether you recarpet in the future, whether it's 40 years from now and you decide to tear the building down, at some point, the asbestos has to come out before you do any work in it.
The south wall, the half a dozen offices on the south wall, as of today, there's nobody going to be in those offices, and that's where you're talking about, if one day, and the day will come, we all know that, we're going to have to utilize those offices. Is that what we're talking
Both.
about?
The north and the south at some point in time, if we ever do anything with the flooring,
You ever
Yep,
have to
no,
change
I-
the carpeting?
Yep, very
we're
clear.
going to have to abate that asbestos and then deal with the fact that we need to possibly move people out in order to abate that and get that all, figured out. And so, yep,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner Lemire.
So the plan, the Bs on there, is that,
Oh, geez,
would that
what did I
be
just do?
option one then? Or is
the
the B
green-
the base work?
No, the green would be the base work and the blue would be the option.
Okay.
The green is the base work that you're gonna do no matter what, as things are
If we're
right
gonna
now.
abate the asbestos, obviously, we gotta put new carpet in too.
That's
yes,
right.
and that's part of, or a
And
lot of the cost.
That's actually
that
part of
that-
this
That's
also.
into this.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'm fine with doing
And-
the base work and option one.
And the recommendation that if you're fine with it, we'd utilize that owner items asbestos line item
Yes.
because we will have dollars even left beyond this project
Yes.
proposal. Okay.
Are we looking for asbestos if we get this taken out?
As far as the 60s, 70s, and the 90s building, EnviroSafe, that's basically from what he knows about, from what he's tested, you'd be about 99% asbestos-free. The only thing that would basically be left is if you actually went through and gutted that building in the 60s, because of the bit that would be underneath the walls, yeah.
Yeah, and that would be my only concern is if, let's say, the sheriff's department, whatever, that's a must that we get it out of here, where we could pull on this, like you said, for 40 years, but if we're sitting darn good, I'm for it too.
Yeah, at some point in time, you have to take it out. If
There
you're gonna
should be
carpet
no-
at some point in time, your carpet's 29 or 30 years old, and the cost is gonna go up because then you're gonna have to set up another containment to take up the same asbestos that you can do in Howland one.
You gotta protect,
So,
yeah, and then you gotta move them out,
Why would it?
extension out.
yep,
And to clarify, Deb, the carpet is already included in this bid too, the 94,000 or whatever? That's-
yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, any more discussion or comments? I sense I don't know, if this is gonna be
Did we vote on this?
yeah, we will. Is this gonna be a budget or a roll call?
I think that would be a good idea, and if.
And this will be a roll call, and I just want to clarify that the motion is for taking the money out of the miscellaneous owner item asbestos. So that's what the motion will be, that is highlighted on our form, and
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, to do the base work and option one together.
any more, I need a second, please.
Second.
Any more discussion? This again will be a roll call vote. Commissioner Blaine? Aye. Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire?
Aye.
Commissioner Zelinski?
Aye.
Myself as aye, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
And I see you did update, the social services kind of all moved in now, right?
Yep, they're getting moved in, staff is moving now,
That
so they
looks nice.
started
I was just
yesterday,
in
there.
so they're open for business now, so.
Good.
The
yeah.
front office is there for social services. Public health is moving as we speak in the front office, and next Monday we start other staff that are down here and getting into their permanent homes, so.
Looks very nice.
Thank you.
Company.
Thank you, Mike. Have a happy New Year.
Have a happy New Year, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
And then the next, oops,
Steve, are you Public Works?
no, he's administration. He is happy about it.
Oh, I thought his name was Steve, you know.
All Steves. We
Morning,
need all
Steve.
Steves
Morning,
eventually.
Steve.
What I have this morning is something we have to do on an annual basis, is designate our 2019 assigned, restricted, and committed fund balances. On the next page is a listing of those. There is one new one for 2019 at the end of the year. Will be for motor vehicle. It'll be taking some of that grant money and moving it forward and from there. So the rest of them are the same ones we've had the previous years. Also on the following pages, I've also added the listing of what these what these fund balances are gonna be used for. Some of these have been, like the auditor's office election equipment, we've purchased that. So some of these will change in the new year, but I just wanted to give you what was as of 2019, what's been done, and what's going to be done with this fund balance in the future, so.
And this document really was one that we kind of started putting together a couple years ago to help us all remember why it is we have money in the bank, so to speak, why it is we're making sure we save some things for number one, planned projects, and number two, unknown costs that could come up that we have to be aware of and planful for. And so it's been a good exercise, I think, for department head leaders and then you guys also to know what that plan is. So it's not just for naught that we have money in the bank.
And I think this process over the years has saved on, if we didn't put some money aside and do this, we'd be borrowing money more often to pay for projects as they come up. A good example is the landfill cell that's going in. You know, we've been putting money aside to pay for that. And, yeah, we could issue debt for that, but there's a cost to issuing debt, you know, interest, fees, you know, it gets costly. I mean, a simple, you know, you're talking 80, 90,000 just in fees to issue debt, and then talk about interest besides over 5, 10-year period, so.
A few years ago, we had our VoIP phone system. That was just short of $500,000 that we were able to pay for because we had an archaic phone system that needed to be updated, and we were prepared for that. So there's a number of examples of that are good.
This is realistic stuff, looking out for tomorrow. This is just plain and simple budget that everybody really, most everybody does it on a routine basis anyway.
Gentlemen, I'll ask for a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion, I need a second.
Second.
I have a second. Any more discussion?
I'd just like to thank you for helping us plan this stuff, that we have the money there to do a lot of these projects, that we're not borrowing money and we're not bonding for it, and that we put it in the savings until it's due, and we have the money there when it's done.
Yeah, we've been, over the years I've been here, it's been a good process for us. The only time that I think that we've borrowed money for capital equipment was when we tried to circumvent the state and their levy limit rules on us. I guess, not circumvent, but I mean, that was the rules they gave us, so we'd issue debt just so that we could fall under the levy limit, so.
Gentlemen, I have a motion and a second. Any more? Commissioner Blaine?
Steve, the total on the bottom of the sheet that we're looking at now says $19,081,000 in, as a total. So I'm just, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but, so what I'm asking is, what is the total for the assigned and restricted fund balances?
I don't have a total here. I didn't total this page out, but it's probably close to that 19. I'm trying to look at if you're looking at the bottom of the third page, the 19 there.
Yeah.
It's, you know, probably gonna be close to that, give or take a few, because we spent some money in 2019, which these all haven't been updated yet, so once I get to the end of this year, I'll update these totals and.
So we're roughly in that, around that 19 million?
Yeah, and I'll talk,
probably.
once in the first quarter, after the end of the year, in my report, I'll have more of those numbers, because these are changing numbers as the year finishes up here, and I'll adjust these fund balances.
Yeah, certainly. So a $19 million fund balance on a just about a $50 million budget, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Commissioner Lemire?
Steve, did we get that money transferred into the building fund from the sheriff's office?
That'll be done, at the end of the year.
Which, why isn't that today? Because today some would believe would be the end of the year. So
Well,
we're closing out our books.
We're closing out our books.
Yeah.
I mean, we approved this. Once I start making these calculations, that's when I make those. I'm making journal entries now to do that, so.
So it'll come to a board meeting in the future when we actually designate the fund balances for the year end, or, because isn't that what we're doing now?
That's what we're doing now. And that will just be part of that fund balance will change. I talk about changing fund balance. The one in the sheriff's will change because we're gonna transfer money into the building fund. And so, at the first quarter sometime when we meet and talk about 2019 reports, that number will be in there. That change will be in there.
It'll show, if he had $1 in there now, it'll show the penny or what, I'm just an
Yeah.
example, okay?
Oh, I thought we needed board action specifically for that, but is that what this is doing, even though it's not called out specifically?
Well, that's part of this motion is to change these fund balances. It's
Okay.
making that change. I mean, we can call that one out specifically if you want to.
We don't have to though, but that's what
No,
you're saying. We
because
don't have
that's,
to. Okay.
part of this is the overall change in fund balances, and that would be part of the fund balance change is moving that money.
Gentlemen, it'd be up to you. Again, we have a motion and a second, but would you want to call that one out separately or just leave it all in a blanket policy?
Blanket.
Anything else? Will you guys leave it as a blanket?
I don't know what you mean by blanket.
Well, because we're voting on all these now, including him taking the $100,000 out of the sheriff's fund and putting in the building, that's part of this, even though it's not in here, correct?
Correct.
So what I'm saying is that if we would vote on that separately, the
We're
hundred
just
thousand.
approving the year-end fund balances. You can transfer that money anytime during the
Yes.
year. So we're
We're
just
good.
approving the
Yep,
fund
I just wanted to make
balances.
sure that that was a good question.
I'll be all right with it.
There was, yeah, I guess I always think about it, it's all being one, but I never thought about, I mean, we can do a separate motion, it's not a, you know.
But we have, we'll just make it all the blanket, we'll put it all in there with that. So, gentlemen, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right,
That it,
thank you very
Steve?
much.
Thank you, Steve.
Happy New Year, Steve.
Same to you.
Steve, Public Works.
Well, can we finish my report, or do you want to not?
I thought Steve was here, but that's fine.
Okay, there's one more action item under administration, and that's, as required by statute to set the commissioner's salaries. It is something that we have to do by law, and you have to, as, at the end of the year, set the salary for the next year. In front of you is a proposed resolution that includes what all other staff in the organization are getting, which is a 2% COLA, cost of living adjustment.
Is this part of the levy for 2020? That was part of it? That was built into 1.28?
Yes.
I'll make a motion on that.
I have a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, we have,
Wait,
Wait,
Was that a roll call vote?
no, no discussion either in it.
oh, that's right. So again, I have a motion. I need a second. We have
And
that.
I seconded it.
Yeah, he seconded. So any more discussion?
I'm gonna be voting no on this. We discussed it in the budget meeting, and at that time, I informed everybody that I'd be opposed to this, so I'll be voting no.
All right, any more discussion?
Well, Mr. Chair, I'm going to support this, and I'm going to support it because we do have a levy increase that is perhaps the lowest in the state, and whether that's good or bad, I don't really know, because it's not necessarily good to have zero, and we know that. But I think that we've done a good job, and everybody got a 2% increase.
Any more discussion? And again, this is no roll call vote.
you don't have to, you're more than welcome to, but you
Yeah, we're fine. Anyway, any more discussion? Again, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, or against?
Aye.
Motion carried.
all right, thank you. And then, Steve.
STS, oh, that's something else. All right, Steve, come on up, please.
Morning, Steve.
Morning, Steve.
Thanks.
Sourcewell X.
All right.
Morning, Steve.
Morning, everyone.
Been busy?
How are you, Steve?
Yeah, it was a long weekend.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, they've done a nice job on the roads, though.
Yeah, I kept after it, but
Hard to keep up with that.
worked so hard, then the next day come to work
I know,
and
but you still
It was
do
a
it.
crappy snowfall
Yeah,
again.
we've
Yeah,
been
it's
getting
heavy stuff. Jeez.
these long extended storms are tough.
Yeah. Steve, what do you have for us today?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I have for you the license renewals for a number of different requirements of our solid waste ordinance. I'd like to do those individually. So the first is our solid waste hauler licenses. The list is on the sheet that should be going around. These are the companies that have applied to provide solid waste services to the residents of our county. We have gone through, they've provided their certificates of insurance. There's requirements on their vehicles that they have them properly inspected. For those that are own property within our county, we make sure they're current on their real estate taxes, and they've complied with all of those requirements. So we're asking that the board would issue licenses to these companies that are listed for solid waste hauling.
Gentlemen, I'll ask for a motion and a second for more discussion.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Lemire.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Jelinski. Any more discussion? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the next category would be the recyclable material hauler licenses, and the companies that are listed there also comply with the ordinance and have applied to haul recyclable materials within our county. We'd recommend that the board authorize these for licensure.
Gentlemen, I'll ask for a motion and a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Then on the back side, we have the list of solid waste management facilities within our county that have applied for licensure. Recycling facilities, the type 2 demolition facility at Camp Ripley has made application. And then we have 2 petroleum contaminated soil sites up at Camp Ripley along with their transfer station. They have been inspected. Chuck's been up and looked at all of these. They comply with the ordinance, and we'd recommend that the board issue licensure to them.
Make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Steve, I have a motion. I need a second, please.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Steve, Happy New Year. Good
New Year,
job on
Steve.
those
Thank you.
roads.
Hey, guys, thanks from us.
And we do have a Public Works meeting Friday, correct?
Yes, we do.
8:30, yep.
So, Happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Steve.
Catch up with you later.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could, this is
Please.
the last meeting of the year, and so your duty is done as board chair, and so I'm sure that
Uh-oh.
disappoints you and everyone else at the table, but it is over, and so I just wanted to say thank you, and we have just a certificate of appreciation for your service. And so next Tuesday, we have our first meeting of the year, and so that will be where I open the meeting and then ask for nominations for chair for 2020. And so we'll begin a new year. So thank you, Mr. Chair,
Again,
for.
thank you for that, and again, it was all my pleasure, so appreciate it. All
Thank
right.
you for the good job.
Anything else, Deb?
Nope.
And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. I need a second.
Hold-
We want to
hold-
go through schedules.
We gotta go through schedules.
Just, Tab, do you have some schedules? Yes, you need, right?
When do we go through?
January 5th through the 11th.
Mr. Chair, I think that you're still gonna be able to get the option to,
All right,
make the
I
motion
tried,
to
I
close
tried
it.
getting out
When
of
it
here.
comes.
God darn it. Okay, so schedules. And again, those dates again are from when?
5th through the 11th.
5th through 11th, and just for that, Commissioner Jelinski, I'm gonna start with you.
Good.
All right.
We're covered.
It's on the 7th of January at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have county board. On the 8th of January at 8:30 in the morning, there's a department head meeting. On the 10th of January at 10 o'clock in the morning, there's a SECB Armor Rack meeting in Alexandria at the Fire Hall. Ice Fest has been canceled for the 11th and 12th. And you said that's it, right? Through the
It
11th?
was the 5th through the 12th, right?
Through the 11th. Do you have trails on the 9th?
Yeah, I'm thinking I do. And I missed it. Thank you. You're the best.
All right. How about Commissioner Blaine, please? The 5th through the 11th.
The only other thing I've got on the 7th at 7 PM, we have Board of Adjustments.
Correct, yep.
I also have a Community Corrections Advisory Board meeting in Foley on Wednesday, January 8th at 1 to 2 o'clock,
1 p.m. or 2 p.m.?
1 PM to 2 PM.
Community Corrections Advisory Committee, is that the Nicole's?
Yeah,
Committee?
that's, this, was in my calendar, so I'm assuming that's correct, but I may have to
Okay.
circle back, just to
Okay,
double
maybe
check
it's
that.
something that, maybe it's a subcommittee that I'm not on. I'm just on that and I don't remember hearing about it, but I'll ask Nicole, no problem.
Would that be it, Commissioner Blaine?
That would be it.
All right, Commissioner Wilson?
I have community development at 12:15.
Yeah, I do.
Or on the 7th. On the 7th, Tabitha,
Got it?
and that's all I think I have.
Is there a Morrison Tabardina Community Health Board on Wednesday, the 8th? From 3 to 4:30 in Staples?
Are you asking Commissioner
Or is it a
Wilson?
different
On the
date?
8th.
Of January?
Yeah.
I don't believe there is, we're looking to meet, I wanna say, trying to remember now, I don't have my notes from that meeting, but I wanna say either it's going to be every other month or quarterly.
Okay.
But I'm with pretty good certainty there is no meeting
Okay.
I
that
didn't
week.
get an email on it either, so.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner Lemire?
On the 9th, we have a Chamber of Commerce meeting at 11 o'clock at the Chamber. That's it.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, you'll have to help me out on this one. We were invited to a city council chamber for the airport zoning board on the 8th at 6:30. You guys, are you familiar
You
with
were,
that?
evidently.
Well, I think everyone was, I'm trying to find that. So anyway, I'll be attending that. So it's at the city council chamber about the airport zoning, and it's at 6:30 on the 8th.
I vaguely remember that.
I'll have to find it, but yeah, I'll double check that, so. Otherwise, anything else, gentlemen? Deb?
Mr. Chair, Greg, that was mistakenly sent by a woman at DOC, It's Deb Anderson, so that meeting on the 8th isn't one you attend.
Okay.
That was, I just verified that.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
And just give me 1 second, I'm gonna see if I can find that real quick here. And I know it was sent to me, but I just have to see. Otherwise, heck, we'll just move on. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah,
1 second, please. On the 7th of January, I believe at 7 o'clock, we have Board of Adjustments
yeah,
meeting.
and Commissioner Wilson, or Commissioner Blaine said that.
Well, I missed it, thank you.
What is it?
Board of Adjustments.
Yeah,
And on the 9th, Tabitha, that meeting, that Trails meeting is either going to be in Pillager or someplace that they call Sylvan Township, and I don't know that yet. But it'll be up there. Thank you, Mr. Chair, sorry about that.
and you just don't want me to give up my gavel yet, do you? All right, anything else? If not, I will make a motion to adjourn. I need a second.
Second.
I have a second. Any more discussion? We're done for the year. Again, thank you.